Oh yeah, somebody's into it somewhere. Yeah, that's the beauty of the internet. Think of the weirdest thing you can.
New King.
Somebody will
Fat
pay to
man
see that.
doing pee-pee dance.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that could go viral.
Okay, we did screw something up, though, kind of, but we haven't really screwed it up. Because the next block was supposed to be favorite dragon and color spectrum, why and who. Any comments from the Nut Hut in person or online, or feel free to comment anytime. Oh, one more thing. Time to shill. Make sure you go to the places and hit the likes and the follows and damn ring the bells and watch and listen and come back and see us and make dumb comments and have fun. Is that enough shilling, production mistress? All right, we got a thumbs up. Cool.
Or even better yet, show up here and get food and beer
come here and get
and whatnot.
Schnocker drunk. We'll bring you on the show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no over service.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly. And then come and just do it for hours at a time. And then come back here and see us in person. Now, but the end of this was going to be best usage of a dragon in your own personal gaming experience.
Oh, that would definitely be that shadow dragon. I think was pretty good. So the party had heard rumors of a dragon living up in a cave and whatnot. And
right.
They went out on an expedition with another group that were planning on going and hunting it. They need a little more oomph, right? So the party joins them, and they're pretty powerful at this point. I think they're like level 12 or 13, something like that. And they planned on waiting for the dragon to leave to go hunt, and then they'd go in, steal a bunch of stuff, and leave. As you do, because nobody wants to fight the thing.
Yeah.
So they wait. They see it fly overhead, and it takes off. It doesn't seem to notice them or anything. So that's their moment to run in there. They run in there, and they get around the corner, and boom, breath weapon hits. There were 2 of them.
That sucks.
And so they fight for their lives. All of the guys in the other group end up getting killed, and the party's hurting a bit. But they do manage to knock it down just in time for Mom to come back.
That's
and sees her dead mate there and
double suck.
Just unloads on them. And eventually they end up fleeing. And what they didn't realize is she had eggs too. So the next time they ran into her, at that point, Aslan Rex had actually sent them to go find a book at one point.
Right.
Sent them into, I think it was Necropolis, to go find one of his books.
Right.
And it was a book called, I think it was Time of the Dragon. And I don't think they looked at it at all. They just grabbed the books on the list. Well, that is the manual for creating a Dracolich. That dragon that they ran away from was Aslan's buddy, who at the time had just found out that Aslan Rex had come back, but she was waiting for her eggs to hatch before rejoining him. So with her mate dead, she's been moving everything back to Castle Avernus, but she wasn't out hunting; she was moving treasure. Before they go and do their thing, Aslan turns her into a Dracolich, and that's the next time they see her. She's even more powerful.
We have a turtle dragon for favorite dragons.
Ooh, dragon turtle.
Oh, dragon turtles are fun.
Those are pretty cool.
The one thing about dragon turtles is the fact that they're not considered chromatic, they're not considered metallic, and they're considered pretty amoral. They're chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
They may decide to let you pass, may decide to eat you.
Yep. Or they might decide that they just want treasure, and so
You toss a few boxes over, you get to pass over.
toss a few chests of gold in the water, and I won't eat your boat.
And then from one of the discords, we have really happy that you mentioned Sky. From
Sky the Blue Dragon.
From Dragonlance. Yeah.
And if you include Draconians, Kang the Bowback.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Kang.
I don't know if
what was it? Was it the 13th Dragon Army Bridge Building Corps engineers?
Something like
Those
that.
were
Yeah.
Those were the Draconians. Those were a lot of fun too. Those are great stories.
Although the thing they did where when you kill a Draconian, they turn to stone.
That was the basic ones, the boss.
Yeah.
You stab them, they turn to stones. One of them you stab them, they turn into a pool of acid.
Yeah.
One of them explodes, and there's a whole different kind of version because
Yeah.
they were all derivatives of their parentage.
Right.
So it was really, really fun.
See, that would be maybe next week we do chromatic dragons, and then like the following week do a little bit of everything.
Well, we're
and
gonna
then,
do the oddballs,
and then we
period.
could do, and then we could do we could talk about draconians, dragonborn.
That's part of
all
one
of
of the
that.
blocks is talking about some of that too. We can actually
so we can throw
prequel that
those
and
in
get
with
into
it.
a big block another time.
Yeah, because they're not the only ones. I mean, there's plenty of like.
If you do Dragonborn, you have to do the Skyrim theme song as the opening.
All right.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to my favorite use of a dragon of all time, it was a short story that when I read it, but it was played as a campaign, and I was rubbing my hands together and moo-ha-haing myself the entire time when I read the story. And what it was about was a guy had taken a dragon who had shape-shifted into a human and presented himself as a druid. And he said that there was this ancient, evil, decrepit dragon hiding in this big, lonely volcano, dead volcano on the hill, and it was going to wake up in the next 25 years and go and just eat the entirety of the world. I need the best of the absolute best of the best of the best to come and help me take this thing down. And so, the human knight shows up, and the female sorceress shows up, and the baddest dwarf on the face of the earth, and the baddest thief all showed up, and they're all Captain Shiny Tooth in their own respective careers, and they spend the entire story and the entire campaign slaving their way through getting to the lair. I mean, just getting there was a pain in the ass. They find a couple places they can exploit and get through. And then they get into the lair and they're looking around and they get there and they're all so happy because the dragon's not there. The
Yeah.
treasure's there wall to wall, up and down, and they turn around and the guy that used to be the druid is the dragon going, all right, thanks for showing me the holes in the security system, nom.
Oh man.
And I was like, that is ass hattery of the highest level.
Right.
I mean, you're probably talking about characters that were in the, mid-teens and lower, almost 20s.
Well, and now that dragon's been with them this whole time, he knows all their tactics and everything. And
What's up?
Oh, it's just really funny. Our dragon expert knew the exact story you were talking about.
nice.
Well read.
Yep. Yeah. So where to from here?
Well, where to from here, technically, from this next session is called Pincushioning, which is where you get to go take
Yep.
a chance to,
Do the stuff. All right.
go do your, go do your bodily functions. And I think I put this where you either go pee or you reinforce your cancer habit.
Yep. Yep. All right.
So we do that.
And my drink is empty. All right. I will be back shortly.
So we are going to talk about the trap today, and I don't have a picture because I don't need one. I really don't. And besides, it'd be kind of a tough picture. And this one's called the Dragon's Dashly device to use on dullards. Now, this particular campaign setting was based in a modified Orth, which is Greyhawk's original setting. And on this planet, this particular DM, his name was Dale. He was a wretched, wretched human being, a son of a bitch at heart, and he was a great DM. He had a dragon, a big, gigantic, ugly, red, scarred up, stinking ancient dragon named Desildidymus. And Desildidymus was this gigantic, massive, huge, 700 foot long, I blot out the sun when I fly dragon. And he was massively ancient. And he was, he had 4 or 5 mountains full of treasure, He had a great time collecting treasure in his younger years, but as he got older, it just got to the point where it was like, this doesn't, have the same snap anymore. So, I mean, he went around killing people, he enslaved nations, he, brought, kings and gods to their knees. And this dragon is so powerful that, there are some demi-powers on the world that don't necessarily want to piss this guy off. And he decides in his later years that he likes having a little bit of fun with people. And what he does is he decides he wants to move about. It's very difficult flying at his age. Wings are arthritic and things are kind of tough. And expending magical power to travel is kind of a pain in the ass. So what he does instead is he decides one day he's going to talk to a wizard that he befriended over the years. And they were going to swap some stories and some information. And he learned about a few spells. And Dezel creates this ruby dragon. It's a ruby that starts out about the size of, say, a football. And it's this beautifully, perfectly carved, smooth, perfect ruby. And it's a dragon statue. And the setup is pretty simple. The characters either find it when they're lower leveled and very broke, or they're mid-level and they're very broke, or they're high level and they're very broke. So the first thing you do is you make sure that whenever the player characters use their skills and abilities to examine the statue to find out how much it's worth, you tell them point blank the damn thing's priceless, because it's been ensorcelled to do that. It is actually a ruby. It's a very expensive, very, very nice stone that's been carved with magic and with, very good care. It is a very expensive item. But what the statue actually is Dezel Didymus. He has turned himself into the little idol. When the players find the statue, they find out 4 things up front. The first thing they find out is that the statue is worth 3 or 4 kingdoms worth of wealth. Secondly, the statue cannot be moved magically. Third, the statue cannot be moved with any sort of discipline other than straight hard labor. In other words, you put it in a cart and you drive it from place to place. And the fourth thing that the most interesting about it is the fact that the statue itself seems to give off a consistent but faint magical aura. So the players are always going to be under the impression, hey, if we get this damn thing identified, it's going to have some great powers on it. It's going to be worth even more money. So the trick is they have to move the statue. Dezel always knows where he wants to go. And what he does is he uses his own magic to influence things to sort of herd the players in a certain direction. If they're going to go from point A to point B and he wants to go to point D, he's going to make problems pop up through the usage of his, magic within the statue. The farther they travel, the bigger the statue gets. Now, when the statue stops growing, it's about 25 feet tall. It's about 30 feet wide, and it's got this, this massive weight to it. So the player characters have to contrive a methodology to keep on transporting the statue. And they just, you're going to tell them as a DM that it's just one of those things where if they keep, keep moving it, they're going to figure out what's going on with the magic inside of it, and they don't. What it is Dezel's trying to get somewhere. At the end of the journey, wherever that journey is, Dezel pops up. Depending on how the player characters have acted, treated the statue, gone about their chances, how they've moved it, he's going to react one of 3 ways. Either A, he's going to eat them because they managed to offend him in the process. B, he's going to let them live and make them pee themselves and leave. Or C, if they've done a particularly good job or had a very clever way of doing it, he's going to reward them with some small trinket, perhaps a scale or a little bit of blood or something interesting, and then he flaps off into the sky to go where he wants to go. And it's not so much a trap as it is a prank, I guess, but it can end in death. It can end in reward. It can end in well, hell, okay, at least we lived, and we got a good story out of the deal. But it was a really fun example of a player, of a DM using a monster, a thing that was, almost all-powerful to bring it in. And it's the kind of thing that I think a dragon at that particular age might do. This thing's 5,000-6,000 years old. He's bored with burn and kill and burn and eat. So the trick was, though, is that this happened to a party that I was playing in, and we didn't know any better. So we spent 8 months schlepping the damn statue from where we found it halfway up the side of a mountain to get into a certain place to try to get it identified and get it sold off. And eventually we were allowed to live, and we had to soil ourselves a few times and beg and scream and prostrate ourselves most abjectly. But anyway, that was the dragon's statue. And incidentally, a couple of years later, there was a module written about this called the Ruby Dragon, and it was a ruby dragon who had transferred himself into a statue who suckered players into carrying him around in a wagon from place to place. And I'm not sure if they got that idea from somebody they heard it from or whatever, but it was really, really super fun time. Anyway, that's all I got for Pincushioning this time. Thanks, guys. Uh-oh.